Hello everyone, back with another technique video. Today we're talking about straight punching. Now when we talk about punching, there's a lot of different ways that we can punch, but the fastest way to our target is always going to be a straight line. And that's why when we're talking about punching, the first thing we should learn is how to do a straight punch. And that is just a punch that's going straight to your targets, okay? Now there are different forms of straight punching. Depends on what kind of knuckles you're hitting with. Today we're talking about that classic two-knuckle punch, which you find in karate and taekwondo, in boxing and many other disciplines. We're going to be hitting with these two knuckles right here. The key to a good punch is keeping a tight wrist. If the wrist is tight, the energy that's transferred up through your legs, into your core, down your arm to your knuckles, is going to go all the way there. But if your wrist is loose, as you're transferring that power, when you hit, it's going to bend, potentially hurt yourself, and you're going to lose all that power that we transferred into your target. So a tight wrist is the most important. A lot of people think a tight fist, but when you make your fist tight, sometimes it's actually hard to make your wrist tight. And so our first objective is a tight wrist. Actually, a little bit of opening in your hand is okay. Remember, your thumb is never tucked on the inside, it's always tucked on the outside. A lot of people say this is because if you tuck it on the inside, you break your thumb. My experience, that's not so true. You might hurt your thumb a little bit, might jam it up, but I doubt you'll break it. The reason why putting your thumb on the inside is so counterproductive is that it makes it very hard to make a good, tight wrist. And so putting it on the outside will allow you to tighten down the wrist better. And so that's why we stick it on the outside. Now when we start from punching, we always want to start from our good guard with our hands up to protect our face, especially as we're moving closer to our opponent. We got to start worrying about our face and getting hit there. So we got to bring our hands up to defend ourselves. And we're also going to start launching our attacks from this position. The jab is going to be our first straight punch. That's our rangefinder. We're going to take a little step in because they're usually a little bit outside of range. We bring it straight forward, okay, because we're going to generate as much power as we can with our elbows down, not elbows up. And also we protect our core by having our elbow down. So, a lot of people don't make the mistake of going like this. But you create an opening here, and also you don't have as much power punching this way as this way. So you actually start going straight forward, and then you turn your hand over and twist as you make contact. Remember, you're a little bit stepping forward because you're usually out of range, and you're trying to see if you're within range with that jab. Okay, if he starts walking in, a lot of times the jab becomes more of a post, and he kind of skewers himself on your arm. The cross is really that knockout punch. That's where the power is. So right after you do the jab, you're going to twist with your hip. You're going to come up on the ball of your foot. You're going to come straight and then roll over, boom, coming through with your cross. That's going to be your real power hit. You can put them together, which is a great combination of 1-2, where you go jab, cross, and then come back. Or a double jab and a cross. Whatever you need to do to spice it up, make it confusing, hard for the person to follow what you're going to do. So anyway, very simply, one last time, this is our jab or our lead straight punch. Those terminologies are equivalent. Or our reverse straight punch, we also say in boxing, our cross. When you do your jab, your stance can be a little more narrow because you're really going for that reach. It's a lot of like when we do our weapons training. We're in a much more narrow stance because we just care about that reach. But when we want to use our backhand, we cannot be too narrow because we cannot twist our hips, and that's where the power is coming from. So as you go for your second punch, oftentimes you got to step out just a little bit to make room for your hip to come through with your reverse. Anyway, thank you, Jesse. Those are our two different types of lead straight punches. Of course, there's so many different punches we can do, but I think the first punch we have to master is that straight punch. So let's get to work.